Sarah, we're back.
Back again.
Guys, admittedly, we haven't left our seats, even though you have moved forward into the future 1 week ahead. So past tense Danny and Sarah are now speaking to future tense viewers who are about to celebrate Thanksgiving.
Ergo, our lovely floral decoration with harvest colors.
Yes, very fall-esque.
Yes.
Sarah, shall we continue on the topic of conversation that we covered last week, i.e. in our world 5 minutes ago?
Danny, I'd love to learn more about car accidents and what do you do after one happens?
God forbid. As a general disclaimer, I could say God forbid after every single sentence in what you're about to hear. So how about we do a deal, Sarah, audience? I will say God forbid to you ever being in a car crash, but given the likelihood of it happening and this topic being relevant to your life, we're just going to talk about what you should do. Does that sound fair?
Fair. And I think that with this episode, please pull out your notepad and take some notes with me because I think Danny's got some great tips ahead.
Excellent. Should you be in a car crash, your immediate concern should not be, I need to call up Danny. I need to call up a personal injury lawyer. I need to call up my sister. I need to call up my insurance company. Instead, it should be safety. As we discussed before, and as you should know from your time in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, safety first. So, if you're in a car crash and it's in the intersection, it's not necessarily a good idea for you to get out in a busy intersection or in the middle of the freeway and stop the car and start exchanging insurance information with the guy that hit you. It's not a good idea. So, safety first dictates you look around at your surroundings and figure out, should we remain here or should we move elsewhere? Ditto, if someone's in the car with you, ask him, are you okay? Are you doing fine? May we move? Can you get out of the car? And that will also dictate the very next question, whether or not you should call the police or fire department, ambulance services. If there is an injury or the situation's unsafe or you are concerned about a very hostile other driver from the other car, it is imperative for safety purposes for you to call up the proper authorities, or just all of them. Now, you might not want to be calling out the ambulance and the police if it was this simple fender bender and you see 3 scratches on the back of your bumper. Probably just not a good use of our state's resources.
I agree, yes.
Okay, so safety first. Check your surroundings, check others in the vehicle, etc. Next up, call up emergency services as necessary. Assuming that you're in a safe location, that would be the time for you to go speak with the other driver. That's step 3 on over there. Your conversation with him should not be hostile.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
It probably is not a good idea to start waving around your gun, your middle finger, or using rather colorful vocabulary to discuss and describe what he or she just did and how they drove, what you think about them. Instead, the conversation should be based upon what is needed at that moment. Cursing at them is not needed. Their insurance information is needed. Their acknowledgement of whether or not they're responsible might be helpful. Their information such about their vehicle, their driver's license, etc. That's good stuff to get out of them. And while you're at it, why don't you ask them, are you okay? Are you safe? Are you feeling fine? Do you need an ambulance?
Danny, does that need to be videotaped when you have that interaction with the other person involved in the accident?
It does not need to be videotaped, and in fact, taking out your phone and videotaping the conversation is definitely going to create a more hostile atmosphere. With that said though, if the other driver is coming out there and saying, I'm so sorry, I apologize, this was totally my fault, you might want to say, hey, I really appreciate you saying that. Do you mind writing that down right on over here? Or can I film you actually saying that? I don't mean to trap you in some sort of an uncomfortable situation, but I'm sure that your insurance company at a later point might try to convince you to say otherwise, so would you please, do you mind? That's a good idea.
Okay.
Not saying that everyone will consent to it, but if you have a witness and they hear it and the other guy won't consent to being videotaped, well, that's half the battle right on over there. Next up, I told you why or some of the things that you should be asking for in terms of your conversation with the other driver, but getting their insurance information and giving your insurance information, whether to the opposing driver or to the actual police, that's very helpful and necessary and actually required by law. Next up, if a police officer is needed, then you should be working on getting a proper report and getting your side of the story kind of in place, because the police report does carry a lot of weight in a subsequent personal injury lawsuit over this issue. So that's very helpful. Next up, non-emergency medical care. People are very cynical about what's called soft tissue injuries. My back hurts, my neck hurts, nothing's broken, I'm not bleeding, but they are a reality. No one thinks twice to question an athlete when he says, I'm experiencing soreness and I can't go work tomorrow, even though I will earn $300,000 earning just from that one game, because it's a real fact of life. It's an actual thing. So should you leave the scene and not feel any injuries, don't be surprised if the next day you do feel some tension, some stress, some pain, headaches, etc. And if so, go seek medical care, because it's a real issue. Concussions can have a lifelong impact upon you, and so can soft tissue injuries. So please, go get them addressed as quickly as possible. And it's also helpful for the case that you not linger and wait around on it. Next up, because I see my time is running up, file your insurance claim and speak to a lawyer. Note, I'm bringing this up at the end of the list rather than the front end. It's not most important that you go speak to your lawyer. It's least important. So after you take care of your own safety, get started up on medical care, get the insurance, speak to emergency services, then you may consult with a lawyer to see, do I have a case? What do I do? What are the next steps, etc. And ditto with filing the claim with insurance. Sarah, we are almost at 7 minutes, meaning that I've violated our own code of conduct of keeping these just at 5 minutes. Apologies to you, apologies to everyone else, but I think that this was helpful and informative, do you not?
I do, and I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
May it be warm, festive, delicious, and drama-free.